Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have a really horribly boxed copy of set number 70678. This is the LEGO Ninjago Castle of the Forsaken Emperor, containing 1,218 pieces, and retailing for $99.99 in the United States. This is the second largest set from the Season 11 Secret of the Forbidden Spijitzu wave. It actually had the most pieces, but the Land Bounty was $30 more expensive, and as you can see, my box is in really, really horrible condition, but I got it on eBay for $52, so that doesn't bother me too much, and this box is going straight in the trash after this video. But you have one instruction booklet, which fortunately all of the contents and stickers and everything were sealed in, everything, so there was nothing wrong with it besides the box, and for the price I paid, that's not an issue to me. We do have a little bit of interesting stuff at the end of the instructions, including this interesting look at all of the features of the set, this LEGO Life ad, and then we do have a big ad for the other Season 11 stuff, and it splits it into the ice sets and the fire sets, and this is the largest of the ice samurai sets. But yeah, really thick instruction booklet, and this was a pretty substantial build. Let's take a look at the different stuff that we get out of this. And I wanted to start off the video with a quick look at just all of the contents of the set, just all completely here. And it's done in three little subsections. We get the large majority of the castle. There's one tower, which is a separate build that can be just placed wherever you want. Obviously it's supposed to be like part of the castle, but it's just not physically attached. And then over here we have the Ice Emperor's Dragon, which is a pretty cool and much more substantial than I expected ice dragon. It's got the vinyl wings and everything, and it has a really large wingspan. I think this is the largest wingspan that we've gotten on a Ninjago Dragon, actually. It's bigger than Firstborn's wingspan. I guess maybe the only wings that would rival it are the Legacy Ultra Dragons. But yeah, it's a pretty substantial thing. I guess we do build that first, so I guess we'll take a look at that first. And as you can see, this thing has quite the presence. It doesn't use a ton of parts. Like, this is probably 35-40% of the total parts count of the set. It's 3 bags of the 10 bags that are included. I know a couple of the bags in the set are really small, but it's definitely got takes up a large amount of visual presence for the amount of parts included here. A lot of that is thanks to these wings, which these are vinyl, so they are a little bit flexible, and I do generally prefer the cloth wings for dragons, but these I don't mind too much because you do have that little bit of translucency to them, which obviously is not really possible with cloth wings. So I don't actually hate these as much as I was expecting to. They are on ball joints, and you can move them all around. The wingspan is quite significant, and honestly, the biggest thing I'm worried about with this now is where I'm going to display, because it just takes up so much space. But it does definitely look cool for the amount of space it takes up. They obviously, like pretty much all dragons that have been using these vinyl wings recently, just as a mostly Technic frame for the wings, do use some of these elemental blade pieces that were introduced in the Ninjago 2013 sets. They've been used since, but I think this is a new color combination for them, and you do get 4 of these in this dragon, which is kind of cool. And you do have a little bit of suggestion of claws here. You can't really hold any figures there. I mean, I guess you can try. Here's the Ice Emperor. I know this doesn't make sense, but you can sort of hold them, not super convincingly, but I guess if you want to make some sort of use of those claws, you can. And yeah, it is a thing. The other wing is obviously exactly the same. The legs have a little bit of articulation. You can move them back and forth, and you can splay them in and out. And you do have another ball joint for the ankles, which would allow you to, I guess, sort of make a little bit of a walking pose, and you can actually sort of do that pretty effectively. Like, that works pretty well. Since it doesn't have a ton of parts and like a lot of it is the wings, there's not too much mass for you to balance. It actually does, like, the leg articulation does work out pretty well. I do like the actual design of the feet where they use this transparent claw piece, as the back toe, and then you use these pyramid pieces on the front claws, which just gives it a pretty cool icy look. I guess we gotta move that wing up so we can turn this around, and you can see the tail, which the tail is made up of ball joints, and basically the same kind of deal as all Ninjago dragon tails. Does use this fancy piece at the back, which is dual molded and looks pretty cool, and pyramid pieces along the whole spine of this thing, and the actual body section, it's pretty decently built up. You got some trans light blue in there. From the bottom, doesn't look too bad. You got a little bit of regular blue there, which does stick out just a little bit, but it doesn't stand out too much. One thing that I really kind of like about this dragon is just the fact that you do have the multiple neck sections, which allow you to just get all sorts of cool neck poses. That 2x2 brick with the eyes there is printed, which is cool. And you can open the mouth and close it, and the overall build for the head of the dragon looks pretty good. I like the use of these cow horn pieces and the tooth plates. Just gets a pretty good look. And while there's no saddle or anything on the back of this dragon, you can sit the Ice Emperor on this 2x2 section of studs. In the show, the Ice Emperor doesn't really actually fly the dragon. The dragon just like does what he wants it to, without him like actually sitting on his back. But you can pose him there if you would like to, and it does work out pretty well. But yeah, this dragon is, I think, significantly better than I was expecting it to be for the amount of the set that it takes up. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out overall. And I guess there we go. Now he's balancing, and yeah, it's a pretty good dragon as far as dragons go. And before we look at the actual castle itself, you do also get this tower here, which there's no way, like no connection point down at the base that allows you to clip it onto the actual castle or anything, and there's no real like place where you can just stick this super easily. But it does fit in with the overall style and aesthetic of the castle. So it's basically part of the same structure and universe, just I mean, I guess it could be like an extra outpost somewhere else, like outside of the castle. I don't know, but for what it is, it looks pretty good. You do get one of these big or small ugly rock pieces, which still looks pretty good in this trans blue color, used for an ice wall. We do have some of these spikes here, which these spikes are seen throughout the castle, and that part is actually new for this Ninjago wave. It also appears in the smallest one from the wave, but you can angle these out throughout the castle. You can sort of turn them if you want to. You get a spider here, which that's a little weird. I don't really understand it, especially in this color. It's a little bit strange, but it is there, and I guess it's always cool to get a spider. I just don't know if it belongs in this particular context. And there's a clip here for a sword, and you also have this here, which is a little bit of an action feature, which you can see we got a prison here, which uses a X-Wing canopy piece in trans blue, which isn't a super common color for that part, and it does look sufficiently ice-like. Mine came a little bit scratched in the box, which is a little bit unfortunate, but what can you do? I mean, maybe I'll care enough to ask for a replacement, but I probably won't. And you can just open that up with this lever out here, which is kind of cool. And you can fit a figure inside this little prison cell. There is a bone in the background, and you can either just stand them up the way they are, or you can stand them on those two studs there. Their hand can get in the way of that little action feature a little bit, but if you push their hand back, they're able to stand on those two studs. Otherwise, you can just kind of throw them in there a little bit further back, so they're like inside the icy area. And now he fits in perfectly fine without you having to move his hand at all for this little action feature. But yeah, that's just pretty much all there is to this bottom thing. I guess it's kind of nice that they use that space for something, but it's not not the main feature of this little tower, as that is this little crossbow thing up here. They use these dark red shields as roof sections, which is kind of a cool look, but this crossbow can turn all the way around and angle up and down, and I do like the way that they build this using one of these pieces. It was introduced in the Fallen Kingdom Jurassic World sets, I think, which is a pretty flexible piece. It comes outside of the bags. It's separately packaged. Well, not packaged, but you use some of these pieces as well, which I remember them using it for the Master Fall set in this color. I don't know how many other times it's been used in that color, but it's an interesting part. And this is spring-loaded shooters, so all you have to do is push down back there, and it will shoot out. You can, shoot just one at a time if you want to, but that's pretty much all there is for this little thing. There's nowhere for a figure to sit or anything to control this. It's just kind of there. I guess you could sit someone on those two studs, but it would look really weird. Here we have the full castle of the Forsaken Emperor, and it's got, two kind of tower sort of structures, which have some snow on them. Well, I guess some asymmetrical snow on them. And then you have these two pillars here, which kind of create an entrance, and this little walkway in the front, which has a little bit of an interesting play feature associated with it, which we will see in just a second. But just first, taking a look at the actual castle structure, we have these vinyl banners here, which come out of the same vinyl sheet as the dragon. So I guess it's kind of cool that they did just use the rest of that empty space there to give you something. You can sort of angle these outwards a little bit. They do, like if you push them up against a wall, they, instead of breaking, will just turn, which is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about them snapping off pretty easily. You do have a couple more of these spikes down here at the bottom, which you can change the angles of. These flags here, the ones that are white with this black, roof underneath that would be showing through, with that printed on there, that's a print, not a sticker, which is cool. And you get a total of 3 of them, I think, in this set. Yeah, no, 4 of them. There's one up here too, and they're all the same, and they're pretty cool. You can't really line the black, like the black isn't all the way lined up to the very edge, like you can sort of do better with say these stickers up here, which these are on the angled flags, and you can sort of get this snow pretty much right up to the edge, and there's one of those in each of 2 different directions. I do like the use of the dark red here. I think that works pretty well with this color scheme. And just looking quickly at this side, you can see the roof sections, like what's got snow on it and what doesn't, kind of gets swapped between the 2 sides a little bit. And down here at the bottom, we do have more of these spikes, and again, there's a little spear here, which is a little bit different, just making it a little bit asymmetrical. But the interior is also a little bit asymmetrical as well. Moving up here to the front, we do have a little bit of a staircase up to this weird mechanism, and this mechanism is actually part of the main play feature of the set, and it has to do with these Spinjitzu pieces, which these forbidden Spinjitzu pieces, if you don't know how they work, here's Lloyd's. It's in trans glitter green and this pearl gold color, and you can just spin that around sort of decently-ish well, if you're good at it, yeah, like that, and you go spinning all around. But in this set, you actually have a play feature for it. You're supposed to stick it right in here, which it uses these rubber Unikitty horn pieces to sort of make it stick in place, and then you can either spin it like that, which you don't really get enough friction, so you sort of have to do it at the base. I guess I was also turning it the wrong direction. But you spin it like that, and you can see stuff happening in the background, which is kind of cool. And he's also moving forward, which is kind of neat. And you can also activate that if you don't want to actually spin it, with just this plate that sticks out on the side, which is a pyramid piece on it. And what that does, we will expand outwards here so that you can see the full thing and the full effect of this. So if we push this back like that, the 2 arches turn, and these pieces behind the Ice Emperor's castle, those will raise and lower. They raise when you push it backwards, and they lower when you pull it back. And that's a pretty cool feature, and it sort of transforms the look of this castle. It does look a little bit weird from the front when you have transformed it, but it's sort of like Lloyd is, like destroying the castle, splitting it in half, which I guess is kind of a cool thought. But anyway, once we've done that, we can take a little bit of a better look at the Emperor's throne, and then we can turn it around and see the interior of the other sections. And the Ice Emperor just sits up there. It's a little bit hard with his armor piece and staff, but you can make it work with the back 2 studs there. He's these 2 swords on the back, which look pretty good. And these canopy pieces are pretty uncommon. They only appear in this set, in the Aquaman set, from the Aquaman, or the Justice League Aquaman set. And you do have some stairs here, which are a little bit asymmetrical and look pretty good. And again, those pieces behind there are a pretty cool dual molded part. And yeah, those are only in this set, I believe. They're also used on the dragon. But turning down here to the side, you can see that this is kind of bland and boring because that's where the mechanism folds into. So when it's exposed, there's nothing really to see on the sides here. We do have a little bit of ice on top, which I guess is kind of cool. And yeah, but we can also sort of see into the interiors of this area from this angle, which it can be a good thing or a bad thing. It's hard to really get a good look at the detail that's going on in there from this angle, so in order to do that, we're going to have to turn it around. And here's a full look at the interior. You can see that the color on these pieces, aside from the transparent blue section, but like the trans red does not look very good from the back. The color is kind of really faded out there, which is a little bit unfortunate, but also going up any higher than this, and you can see that there is no interior detail, but there is a little bit of interior section in each of these towers. It's really just a place for a figure to stand. You could sort of have fit two figures in there if they didn't have this piece, which, I don't know, makes it a little bit unfortunate that piece is there. But we do just have a spear here sticking out, which can't really be used for anything, I don't think. I guess you could imagine that your figure's throwing it. But there is also a clip here which you could attach a minifigure accessory to. But you can sort of just put that there and have him be shooting a crossbow through the window. And then same thing with the other tower over here. There is a stud shooter crossbow though, which that just shoots off 1x1 round tiles. I'm not going to demonstrate it because you've probably already seen it. You can sort of turn it side to side if you want to and sort of get a little bit of a better range, but yeah, that's pretty much all there is to the tower sections, which maybe is a little bit disappointing. Here's a look at the back of the throne for the Ice Emperor there, which is pretty plain. You did use one of these Nexo tiles, and yeah, in order to see into the side chambers here, you'd really have a little bit of a hard time, but there isn't much there in the first place. We just have a barrel here which has some random accessories inside of it, which in this side over here we have this black shovel, this sword, and this katana. And there's also this shield here, which is got a sticker on it, and there's another identical one over here. I believe, yeah, those are the same. I think that this one just had a little bit of scratching on it, but this one doesn't. And down here we have a portrait, which is a little bit hard to see, and it is of General Vex. And yeah, it's there. It's a big sticker in a panel, which is a little bit hard to apply, but it exists. And then over, if we remove this, you can get a little bit of a better look at this side, which has a portrait sticker, same sort of style of the Ice Emperor, and hopefully you can see well enough in there to get an idea of the design of the sticker. You can always look up this at inventory and BrickLink and see the sticker sheet, and that'll give you a little bit of a better idea. But in this barrel, we have a little bit of funny accessories with a hockey stick, 2 skates, and a black 1x1 round tile to represent a puck. And yeah, that's pretty much the entirety of the interior. So the interior on this set is pretty lacking and pretty limited, honestly. I kind of wish that they'd maybe dedicated a little bit less of the space to the play feature that takes up pretty much the entire thing. Though I guess when this is closed up, a lot of this studded space in the center is sort of interior. It's kind of. So you can sort of pose some figures inside, but still it's a little bit lackluster, I think. The first two figures we have here are both just different variants of the Ice Samurai army. This one over here is the Blizzard Archer, and this is the Blizzard Swordmaster. And the Swordmaster only appears in this set and the Titan mech, whereas the Blizzard Archer appears in 2 other sets, I believe also in the Titan mech, and he's in the minifigure pack with clutch powers, though he has a different thing clipped into his helmet. But his face print is the same as pretty much all of the Ice Samurai. The Swordmaster actually does have a different face print because it's on a trans light blue head. Their torso and leg prints are the same in order to move this accessory, the crossbow, so that you can see them a little bit better, but I'm not going to bother removing the cape on the Swordmaster. If we turn this around, you can see the back printing on there, as well as the alternate face print on the Archer, which exists mainly so that you can get a little bit more variety between all of the Ice Samurai, so some of them have this face and some of them have the other face, but they all get the same headpiece included with them, and you just turn it around based on which one you want it to have. There's a little bit of back printing on this head print as well for the Swordmaster, and that looks pretty good. And yeah, both of these are fine figures. You know, nice to add to the little bit of an army that you'd be assembling by getting all the sets, but neither of them are the standout in this set. The hat piece that comes with the Swordmaster is also a little bit uncommon, but it was used in the Ninjago movie CMFs first with that Garmadon variant. Next up we have General Vex and the Ice Emperor, and the Ice Emperor does come with the staff of Forbidden Spinjitzu with the scroll on there, and that is a vinyl piece, which is, you know, a pretty decent design, and that is the ice version. You do, in every set that includes one of those, get the full sheet of 3, and you just punch out the one that you want, and in the set you punch out the ice one, so yeah. But you do get both the others, and you could swap them out. Obviously, you don't get the different colored staff for the fire one, but you know, you can just put the fire scroll on that if you really want to. The overall design of these figures is pretty good. Vex does get one of these little spear things, and they both use the same basic parts. You can see their leg printing here, but those armor pieces are really awesome. They swap the direction that you're supposed to put them on the figures between the two of them so that they have the ice spikes facing in opposite directions. I really like the detailed molding. They're both dual molded pieces. The white ones are exclusive to the Ice Emperor and this set, because the Ice Emperor is exclusive to the set. Vexes are in all of the sets that Vex comes in, but they're still exclusive to that character. And I do like the gunmetal gray design. The white one is cool, but I think that the gunmetal gray one just looks a little bit cooler. Though, in order to see the prints on their torsos, we're going to have to remove a little bit of stuff. And Vex does get a special torso and face print among the Ice Samurai, because, you know, he is a named character, and the Ice Emperor does as well, though there aren't any others that would have had a white torso and leg piece to begin with. I believe Vex's legs are the same exact prints. They at least look the same, so unless there's some really small detail that makes them different, they're just the same as all the other Ice Samurai. And if we turn them around to the back, we can see that we do not get an alternate face for either of these guys, which it makes sense for the Ice Emperor, but it would have been kind of cool to get a different one for Vex. And there we can see the back printing on both their torsos, which looks pretty good for both of them. I do like the Ice Emperor's a little bit better, and I've said this before, for the fire guys and the kind of generic ones, the art style on these for like the ice effect doesn't, like, it's seems like a little bit of a step down from previous years of Ninjago villains and stuff, but with these ones, the Ice Samurai in particular, that have the armor pieces, I don't mind too much, because most of the time it's going to be covered anyway. For the ninja in this set, we have Lloyd and Cole. Lloyd is in his Forbidden Spinjitzu outfit, which is exclusive to this set for the headgear piece. The specific color combination that he gets there, dual molded, is exclusive here. And Cole is only in this set and the dirt bike set, so I guess if you get this set, you don't really need to get the dirt bike one, but this is a cool figure nonetheless. The mask is exclusive to this particular figure as well. Of course, it comes in the other set too, but yeah. The overall design of this season's suits, I kind of like. It is a little bit simplified compared to previous ones, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. For weapons, Lloyd gets a you know, golden version of his sword, and Cole gets this hammer, which I didn't put in his hands, but I probably should have, which uses the new dragon hilt piece that was introduced relatively recently. But yeah, the torso prints for both of these are pretty decent, and the face prints are the same as since the Ninjago movie. Leg prints as well are, you know, just relatively standard. The torso and legs for Lloyd are in all the other sets from this season that he comes in. It's just the mask that is exclusive to this version. And if we remove Cole's head and armor piece, you can see the back printing on his torso, and not with the lighting there, but now we can. And yeah, he does get the armor piece that they've been using in this wave, which has that cool molded detail and a katana that can be removed from the armor. And last but certainly not least, we have this Akita figure, which is a really cool design for a relatively side character in this season, though she is sort of important. We probably won't ever see her again. She is a formling, so she can change forms, and I'm sure you can guess by the thing she's wearing on her head. She also turns into a wolf, and that version of her does appear in the smallest set from this wave. So, you know, it is cool to get the human form of her as well. They probably could have gotten away with just including one or the other, which they probably would have chosen this one, because, you know, the wolf mold is probably a little bit expensive to produce. But she does come with a sword, which is kind of cool. You know, that's not the most common shape of sword piece. And she has this really cool cape tail piece, which seems like it could maybe be a little bit fragile. I hope that, you know, future or in the future we will find a bunch of these rip at those small thin spots. She does have a new hair hat mold, which has the wolf hat, which is printed really well, and her face print is pretty cool. She does have an alternate expression as well, where she has a little bit of a weird, like almost evil-looking smile, but she's not really evil yet, at least. And the back print on her torso is pretty good, and the front print is as well. Overall, this is a pretty well-designed figure. The white on her legs is a little bit pinkish, but not to the extent that it really bothers me, and it shows up in person a little tiny bit more than it does on camera, because I don't... maybe it's just the angle my camera's currently at, but it doesn't come across, at least from what I can see here. And that's all that we got in the set. I think the figure selection is pretty good. We do have the three exclusives, sorry. You know, Lloyd is sort of exclusive, I guess, but we do have the 2 exclusive characters, I guess is what I meant to say. And I think the selection of variety for the bad guys here is pretty good. And you do also get Cole, who is a little bit uncommon-ish. So, you know, if you didn't get the dirt bike, he'll be a cool figure to use still. The builds here are pretty good. I want to like them. I think they look pretty good by themselves, you know, on display. There's nothing wrong with them in that department. But I will admit that playability-wise, the castle is not great. I think they sacrificed too much of the interior space and detail for the ability to transform it between the 2 looks, which, while it's a cool concept, and I do like the whole spinning feature to transform something, I don't think this was the right place to use it. I feel like they probably could have done that better with something else, because this doesn't happen in the show at all. There's really nothing relevant about that play feature, and all it does in this case is turn the 2 towers, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. But, you know, that being said, it is cool to put together, and, you know, you feel a little bit rewarded once it all works. It's only after you turn around and you're like, oh, there's really nothing to do inside this castle, why do I want to enter, that you get a little bit confused, and it sort of feels like, in that regard, the play feature almost wasn't really worth the amount of parts that it took to build it. And I feel like, had they instead focused on making the interior of the castle a little bit bigger and gave you more, you know, kind of action features inside of there, like maybe a trapdoor or something, and other stuff inside there, then I think that, you know, maybe they could have improved it a little bit. The tower I have no problems with. I like this. It's cool. Maybe it would have been nice if there was some way you could attach it to the castle, just to expand it a little bit, but, you know, for what it is, I'm fine with it. And I do really like the crossbow shooter on top. That's one of the cooler things that they've done with these spring-loaded missile kind of things. You know, in Ninjago sets at least. And I will say that the dragon I do like quite a bit. I think that, you know, it's just a cool thing, even if you didn't care about the dragon in the show. I think that it looks cool. You could use this as an ice dragon for Zane if you really wanted to. And, yeah, I think that it's definitely better than I expected it to be. Though, it does take up a lot of space, and I gotta figure out where to display it, because it is something that I kind of want to keep out on display. So, that's a challenge for me personally, though. Not you guys aren't really affected by it. But yeah, overall, I think that this is a good set. I think the value at $100 is probably here. I'd give probably maybe $50 to the castle, and then you know, got an extra 10 for this and like 40 for the dragon. I think that sounds fair to me. And yeah, throw in the figures, obviously, spread that out between the 3 things proportionally. But yeah, overall, I'd recommend this. Is it better than the Land Bounty? probably not, because I did like the land bounty quite a bit. I think the dragon is probably maybe on par with the land bounty, but you know, the other issues that I brought up with the castle sort of drags it down a little bit. And therefore, I don't think this is the best set from this wave, but it's pretty reasonably good. So, hope you guys enjoyed this little review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.